Again, Alara.
Good morning. Good to be with you. Sorry, I was a bit late this morning. There were all kinds of issues, but I'm here now.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you
Alara,
very much.
Great to have you here back now. Let's start in earnest. The first thing we're taking a look at, as you can see.
It's the rain.
It's the rain. It causes those things at times. Maybe we should all go back to bed and then come. No, we can't do that.
No, because even when it rains, you have to eat.
You still have to eat. You still have to work.
You still have to work.
So we've got work to do. So this morning we've got to get work started, and we're looking at the insurgency that we've had in the northeast of Nigeria. There's been heightened insecurity in the northeast recently. It's occasioned by what some have said is unprovoked attacks by Boko Haram terrorists in Baga, Mate, Bama, and Banki. Those are the most recent. Or actually, there's another one that is in Nasarawa State. I'm not sure where exactly, but I know it is somewhere in Nasarawa State that happened. Lafia. It happened in Lafia recently. Now, the Nigerian Army said on Wednesday that the attack on 202 battalion barracks with rocket-propelled grenades and anti-aircraft guns was aimed at overrunning the barracks and creating mayhem. Boko Haram terrorists attacked Bama on Tuesday, and a number of other things has happened. So many people have lost lives. Now, this gives the whole nation a reason to sit back and think and say, what are we going to do about this? Is the solution that of amnesty? Is the solution that of discussion? What exactly is the solution? That's what we're looking for. This is not about pointing fingers at what should or shouldn't have been. It's more about what will be the solution going forward. And to discuss this with us, we have in-house expert on security, Ona Ekhomu, who is a security expert, both for us and worldwide.
Thank you, sir.
And then also Right to Life, Dairo is here. Good morning, Dairo.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
We'll be looking at human rights issue on this particular conversation and how we can deal with it. And then we have the National Coordinator of West African Network for Peace Building, Ifeanyi Okechukwu. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to be here.
All right, I'll start with you, Ona. If we're to look at what has happened over the last 10 days to about a week, how do we sum up the death toll and the kind of havoc that's been wreaked and the mayhem created in the northeast of Nigeria? How do we sum it up?
Well, so it's very unfortunate. It's in fact scary, and I think it shouldn't be, but it is. And I think we have seen a mutation in strategy from the BH fighters. Now they're trying an overwhelming strategy. They come in and they try to overwhelm the town and overwhelm the security agencies, government security forces. The situation in Bama, they had a multi-punch attack. They came in with awesome capability. They had 300 fighters. They had a lot of logistics. They had a lot of vehicles. They had all kinds of good stuff with them, particularly in terms of munitions of war. And but what did they do? They took on the 202 tank battalion barracks first. And so you see, what they were trying to do there was overwhelm the protective force such that they will have a field day. And as that was going on, they attacked the police barracks and set that poor new bride ablaze. And then they also attacked the prisons, set free their confederates who were being held in Bama prisons, and so on and so forth. And generally caused mayhem, attacked banks, got a payday, as it were, and generally caused mayhem in the whole of that city. So it's really, we've seen that, because that's the same thing that happened in Baga. In Baga, they went in there, they accosted the MJTF, that is Multinational Joint Task Force on patrol, they killed a soldier, and the soldiers went for reinforcement. When they came back, they were waiting. They said, yes, we are ready for battle. And you had the shootout, and it was only after 5 hours of firefight that they retreated, meaning that they dug in for a fight. They were ready. So I think we are entering a very new and dangerous phase of this. I don't want to call it insurgency, because insurgency assumes that the population supports what the fighters are doing. I think it's terrorism. It's pure terror, like it's in the mode of Taliban terror, where you take over a territory and force your will on the people, do what you want to do, behead as many as you like, and then thumb your nose at the government and security forces.
Now, the one thing that continues to worry me, and a lot of Nigerians included, is the fact that when you have 20, 50, 100, 200,
300 in
Bama, in a place like Bama, it's not the whole of Lagos.
No,
Lagos is big. It's not the whole of Ibadan. The
Even in Lagos, 300 insurgents in one place. That's a lot.
One place. How did they get into that place that we didn't have any intelligence to know that they are coming in? And how did they drive through the town to the 202 Battalion barrack?
Yes.
At 5 o'clock in the morning.
How did they get through that? Nobody mentioned anything to say, I saw some people with vehicles, and it looks like they've gone guns and grenades and rocket launchers.
Yes.
How could that happen?
Well, you see, there are tactical advantages that were taken by the terrorists. Cover of darkness, obviously. Perhaps even NEPA contributed. There's usually no NEPA. And so on and so forth. So I think there were tactical advantages, because if they drove through town at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or at 10 a.m. in the morning, they will be cited. There will be more reporting.
But some of them were said to have been dressed in army uniform.
Oh yeah, they also had military fatigues, which also proves the point of what happened in Baga. That well, first of all, we know that a lot of the fires that were lit in Baga were lit by the Boko Haram fighters. But Boko Haram fighters, we've seen that happen in many other places. They now don themselves in military fatigues and go to do battle, because first it gives them cover. You just think that it's the authorities that are moving. Yeah. So it gives them, so again, another tactical maneuver here. Aside from the cover of darkness, they done these things on. And you think that it's the good guys that are moving.
Guys.
Exactly. It's only when they get to a place like the military facility and they are asked for their identification, and when they don't produce it, they start shooting. We've seen that before when they hit the one div barracks in Kaduna. The man who drove that suicide vehicle, he was dressed in military fatigues, and it's when he stopped, when he refused to stop, they opened fire before his ordnance detonated. So we've seen them mutating tactics. Trying to, of course, we've seen that in the Niger Delta with those militants down there. We've seen them wear official uniform and try to disguise, masquerade. So identity is very important here.
Yeah, Dairo, the sheer numbers this time is mind-boggling. The number of those kills, the mayhem, the burning. So what do you think the government should be doing at this point? Because this just cannot go on, can it?
Definitely it cannot go on, and indeed it's a very, very sad situation we have here on our hands, and because these are the youth of the nation that are being wasted, from both sides, from the Boko Haram side, and from the side of the law, because it takes so much to train an army, a policeman, and they have families, they're human beings too, and they are just being wasted for no justifiable cause here, But I think let's take it from the beginning. We took the wrong step from the very, very start, beginning of this thing. He said something about we shouldn't call them an insurgencies, because that would amount to admitting the local connivance in this. But I remember some time ago, the head of SSS, Miss Marilyn Oga, was on a program, on a TV program. She was, disturbed that, a whole town, people will be sharing while these criminals set SSS and other security operatives on fire, And I think from the beginning, the first mistake we made was throwing the military option at it. I think the first thing we could have done is deflate the ideological facade of what Boko Haram stands for. Okay?
No, I beg your pardon, but since you choose to go there, what do they stand for?
Now, well, right now, as it were, it is obvious because from all, you can see that all religious scholars in the north, everywhere in the country, have denounced that this is not Islam. And even those that dare to stand to condemn what they're doing have been under fire, some killed. Okay, so it is a fact that they don't stand for Islam. And it was said, it was known all along in the beginning that it's politically motivated. Okay, we should have, and the socio-economic situation on ground then provides a fertile ground for this thing to germinate. Okay, so it's easy for people who are deprived, starved, poverty, and all of that, to see any sort of confrontation at the perceived enemy as a welcome thing. So that may have been why there wasn't so much outcry against them in the beginning. And you see, when you talk about guerrilla warfare, a guerrilla warfare scenario needs a porous community because they are human beings too. So they come, they do the havoc, and they merge into the society. So the society needs to be porous enough for them to be able to escape successfully. And that's porous.
You have told us what they do not stand for.
Yes, they do not. Well, you see, it's politics.
What do they stand for?
What do they stand for?
Maybe if government knew, government would be able to deal with it.
You see, in a terrorist situation like this, in as much as we need to try and engage them to know what they understand, what they stand for, but the plan B should be to contain and possibly eliminate them. Okay, so no matter what they stand for, what they are, the way they are going about it is not legitimate. Okay, so it's not just about spending so much time looking at what they stand for. On the other hand, we should have been equally concerned with eliminating them as soon as possible, with as minimal casualty as possible. So all this death need not have been. So the first thing would have been to secure a serious buy-in from the people, the locals, and the, understanding the power structure in that environment. Because these people, they are not spirits, they are human beings.
That's true.
You understand? So more effort should have been done to secure a local buy-in from the people and considering the power structure and the opinion leaders there then, rather than just throw in military might. It's just aggravate the whole thing like we are having now.
Okay, thank you very much, Dairo. Now let me come to you, Ifeanyi. West African Network for Peace Building. We have a case of situation that looks like war in the land at the moment. And if we're looking to build peace in this nation, a number of Islamic scholars, some of them who are in the government's negotiating team and so on, they've said that some of the things they noticed from going to Kuje to go and speak with some of those people that were said to be Boko Haram members was the fact that they were claiming that they've had no contact with their family, they're being deprived of their rights, they're not allowed to even have lawyers and things of that nature, and that Americans are able to come in and speak to them, but our local Islamic scholars here are not able to speak to them to understand their thinking and psyche and so on. What is it you will be saying to our government and to our security agencies in terms of how to build peace today?
Thank you very much. I think we shouldn't be surprised the levels of violence that has pervaded the country. I think we are looking at the branches, the effect of an evolution of inability of us as a nation to deal with deeper-rooted matters or issues that exist within the country. If you look at the UN, the Secretary General of UN recently said that Nigeria is now more or less a violent country. And if we try to interrogate this speech, it's not just that violence is expressed physically. Violence in itself has various categories. Before you see the expression of physical violence, there are other inducements or things that motivate people to act violently. And you look at structural issues of violence, for instance, where it's impossible for people to access opportunities, that address their needs, their basic needs, needs of shelter, needs of water, needs of basic livelihood, needs of security. When those issues people do not find ways of addressing or being able to attain those basic needs, then they begin to express themselves in various ways. And so the inability of provision of social structures in itself becomes the structural violence, that plays out, where we play kiss glove on issues of corruption, we play kiss glove on issues of impunity, the weakening of judicial systems, the inability of the country to actually prosecute, and the inability of those who are elected to engage the communities themselves, provides a level of disconnect. And out of that issues of structural violence that people have seen, it creates a pressure because people don't see means of accessing resources that addresses those basic needs. And because they don't see a way of addressing it, it leads to various levels of attitudes and behavior. People become frustrated. Oh yes, because you now begin to see people, some are pacifists, they begin to pray over it, and at the same time curse those who are involved in the process. Some, in terms of their attitude and socialization processes, relate violently with their fellow Nigerians. Some now try to express it in a way that creates opportunities for physical violence that we see in the expressions of the various levels of violence. It is not just the North that
how do we begin to build the peace that the nation is craving?
I think peace is a process. It is not just enough for us to look at provision of amnesty.